evening, everybody. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the Risk Difference Maker Institute $50,000 Spring Idea Challenge Finals. It's a lot of words, right? But thank you all for being here. We've got 10 teams tonight that are going to pitch head-to-head for an opportunity to come away with a portion of our $50,000 prize, which is offered both in kind services from some amazing donations, which I'll go over to in a minute, but as well as cash to move their project forward. So very exciting stuff. I'd like to acknowledge some very important people that are here with us tonight and thank them for their time and their effort. You've seen some of them going by on the screens right now. But we have got our judges here this evening to help with the 50K challenge. First of all, we've got Brian Rist. Brian is the former CEO and founder of Stormfront Industries, which was a leading organization that was focused on hurricane protection products. So thank you, Brian, for being here tonight. Thank you, Brian. We have one of my great friends, Amy Hoey, here tonight. Amy is the president of Lowell General Hospital, right down the road. She's an alum of the Zuckerberg College of Health Sciences, and we're very excited to have Amy here and her experience in healthcare innovations. Amy, thank you. Welcome. We have Lorna Boucher here, whose photo was up there a second ago. Lorna is the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for Imperative Execution. Or she's also a graduate of the Manning School of Business and sits on the Manning School of Business Advisory Board. So thank you for being here as well, Lorna. We have Joy Tong here tonight. Joy, thank you for being here. Joy is the founder and creative director of Group 3 International, which is a travel goods company. Joy and her husband, John, who's also here. John, they have major supporters of UMass Lowell. We thank them for being here as always. And we know Joy is very passionate about her Women in Business program, which some of you in this room I know are members of. So thank you, Joy. Last but certainly not least, we have David Arello. David, thank you for being here. David is the former president and CEO of Stratus Technologies, a company that is focused on fault-tolerant computer servers. So if anybody's ever been in a situation where you make sure you have continuity in your IT systems, that was David. And David is currently serving as the executive in residence at the Manning School of Business, where he mentors students. So again, David, thank you for all of you. As I mentioned, we have some really important sponsor partners. They have been rolling by on the screen, but I would just like to mention them. These sponsors are providing very generous support to our students here tonight, to the Risk Difference Maker Institute. We have the Jack M. Wilson Center for Entrepreneurship. We have Enterprise Bank, Foley and Lardner, Jackie and Ed Maloney, our former chancellor, the Rist Institute for Sustainability and Energy, Brian and Kim Rist, and the Rist Family Foundation. We have the Joseph P. Donahue Charitable Foundation, Andrew Sutherland, Dan Manatakos, and the American Infrared Solutions Company, and lastly, but not least, the UMass Lowell Innovation Hub. So thank you to all of these sponsors here for being an important part of moving forward, the innovation, the creativity, and demonstrating that you can solve real-world problems, which many of these students are aiming to do tonight. So thank you for that. I would be remiss in not thanking our faculty fellows to the Institute. These faculty fellows play a very instrumental part in mentoring our students and working with them through our workshops. So from the Francis College of Engineering, we have John Palma and Ash Ranasinghe. We have from the Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Science, we have Kathy Levy and Neil Shortland. From the Honors College, we have Ray Mansfield. I know Ray is here. From the Kennedy College of Science, we have Tom Wilkes. And from the Manning School of Business, we have Kevin Willett, aka Professor Kev, who I know is also in the house. So thank you to our faculty. There are many deans here tonight, associate deans, vice chancellors, associate vice chancellors, department chairs, faculty, mentors, and you, the students here tonight. So thank you all for being here. And finally, I can't do any of this without the amazing Risk Difference Maker Institute team that we have here. So first and foremost, Brenda Evans, the Dean of Student Affairs and Wellness is here. Brenda, thank you. David Carlaro, our Risk Difference Maker Institute Fellow. You see David running around all over the place doing things. Cameron Cameron Famigligetti, our other Risk Difference Maker Fellow, is here. And then many of you know that, in fact, right here, so perfect timing, the Risk Difference Maker Institute allows for co-ops to work for us and continue to help us out at the Institute with planning events like this and so many other things. So we have Alexa Henderson, Hannah Hodzik, Suhani Patel, Kaylee Furrow, and Panita Tai. Thank you to our wonderful student co-op. And lastly, I would like to say a special thank you to someone here tonight that, for many of you know that I've only been on this job, if you will, since the beginning of this year. And up until that point, Professor Steve Tello shepherded this program, continued to look after it, served as the interim director, has been a big supporter and helper of me as I've been coming in and onboarding and orienting. So, Steve, thank you for all that you've done for the program. You want to get started? You want to do this thing? Yeah, all right, let's do this thing. So it is my pleasure at this time to bring to the stage our MC for the evening, Professor Neil Shortland. Neil is a member of the Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences faculty here. He is a professor. He also looks after the Center for Terrorism here at the University of Massachusetts Lowell. So with that, Neil, please take the stage.
Everybody, thank you very much for having me in my annual MC role. Usually the evening I am my most British. I believe the theory is that makes the night flow faster as we work through our 10 different teams. But it's always an honour and a privilege to be here. I've been a part of Difference Makers now for a long time. I've seen students start in an idea generation workshop and graduate into the leader of their own business. And once you've seen that once, you know what an amazing opportunity this is. So it is honestly my privilege and pleasure to be a small part of the evening and to shepherd the spotlight onto the different teams that we have here. Team ACE Difference Makers. This is led by Ania Nushi, who has developed an AI-powered personal assistant called Agent X, which isn't your average campus app. It's designed specifically to help international students navigate university life. And as an international person myself, I was surprised there was a Starbucks on campus, so this is obviously a huge asset for all of us. So please join me in welcoming Team ACE Difference Makers to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ania Nushi, and I'm a junior computer science student here at UMass Lowell. Before we start, I want to let you know that if you want to access our presentation slides, scan the QR code and it will navigate you there. So, let's start. When I came in the United States in the beginning, I faced something many international students badly battle with. Stress, confusion, isolation. Well, it wasn't just homesickness. It was trying to navigate to visa portal, jobs, scholarships, even healthcare, all at the same time while trying to adjust into the new environment. This struggle made me build Agent X Navigator, an AI-empowered companion made for international students by international students. I'm sorry. International students face 5 major pain points. Information overload. From scholarships through CPT's application, the information is mostly scattered and often outdated. New environment. Legal system, culture shock, academics, it's just overwhelming. Lack of personalization. Most of the information is mostly generic, robotic. Health issues. A high percentage of international students face health issues, yet a few of them seek help. Career barriers. I can say that us as international students face huge hurdles entering the job market. It's not like the support doesn't exist, it's because it's fragmented, impersonal, and hard to access. This isn't just an impersonal problem, this is a massive opportunity. There are over 1 million international students in the United States. There are 1,331 here at UMass Lowell, making that nearly 1 in 10 students. And they are facing the same challenges I did. We have done the research. Language barriers, stress, culture shock, it's all there. But there doesn't exist a single tool that brings everything together, personally and broadly. And that's where Agent X comes in. Agent X is going to be your AI-powered body. It's going to solve this problem in 3 key ways. Centralized access, one application for scholarships, CPTs, OPTs, internships, and so many more. no more Google rabbit holes. 24/7 AI agent. Ask anything you want. Need help applying for Social Security number at 3 a.m.? Give a call to our AI phone agent and it will answer straight away. And the third one, personalization. Each student will be able to request a three-dimensional model. It is going to be their avatar. It's going to be their AI-powered body, a visual companion that is going to make the support feel more real. It's like having an academic advisor, a job coach, a friendly mentor, all in your pocket. Agent X, in this specific case, is like a puzzle. We have all the pieces of the puzzle, but we're missing the most important tools to connect all these pieces together. With Difference Maker support, we'll deliver a stable and scalable application to international students this fall, specifically UMass Lowell international student. We're going to transform an idea into real impact. Agent X is going to launch in 3 specific phases. The first one, free UMass Lowell pilot, is going to start right here. We'll gather feedback, improve our platform, and prove the impact of Agent X Navigator. The second phase, for a price of $4.99 per month, Agent X is going to be accessible to Massachusetts campuses. And our third level, our Pro Max tier, is going to launch and it's going to be accessible to a nationwide level. So it's going to be accessible to all the US campuses all over the United States of America. And we're doing this with serious research, data from Open Door, NASA, ISA, and the computer analysis from 3 AI-powered models that shows that no one else offers what Agent X does, a full AI-powered experience that's going to help international students succeed in their journey. I've lived this problem, and I'm building the solution I wish I had. With your support, I'll launch a pilot, improve the platform, and scale Agent X to reach nationwide level. Thank you so much for your time.
You nailed the timing just a second. Very interesting. So what I wanted to ask you to start with was, what's your model for compiling all of this information? Like how will you bring together all of these resources?
So I've done several interviews from community college, specifically Panther Community College, interviews from UMass Lowell, interviews from Amherst College students, and we're going to gather all these data in one place, and we're going to implement an AI agent into the mobile application. And on the free UMass Lowell pilot, more data that we'll gather from the UMass Lowell, the AI agent is going to be updated with the real data from international students. So we'll start from there.
Did you have any opportunity to, search elsewhere for this kind of opportunity? Or is there anybody else have done this?
So I've done my research, and there doesn't exist an application that covers all of this together. So using Gemini Pro model, ChatGPT 4.5 model, and Supergravity model deep research, they were able to make a research of 300 plus resources, starting from website, YouTube videos, even GitHub repositories, and they all come in one conclusion. There doesn't exist a single application like Agent X that offers a personal AI-powered experience for international students. Thank you.
First of all, I love your idea. 2 questions. One, you quickly mentioned $4.99. You go to outside of UML, you're going to charge $499 or $4.99. What's that?
Because the time was a little sensitive.
Right. Yeah.
What I was specifically trying to say, the price will be $4.99 per month for international.
$499.
$4.99.
So per student.
Per student, that's correct.
Okay. Second, AI is changing everything, but some of the things you talked about have some sensitivity to. A lot of things you talked about have some degree of security, sensitivity, all those things together. What are your thoughts on trying to stop, to protect the people and protect everybody? I mean, they're gonna have you're gonna have their social security number, they're gonna have their, where they come from. How are you going to, what makes me sure that me giving you my information isn't gonna come back and bite me?
So it's not going to work like you are going to enter your specific information and it's going to make the social security number. It's going to work like...
But you just mentioned ChatGPT, Gemini, and all those things.
Yes.
And unless you establish guardrails on that, then it really would be loose.
Well, those 3 AI power models were used for research.
Okay.
So they took information that is already, all over the internet, but they place it in one place. For the social security number, it will be like, hey, I just got a job in campus and I cannot wait till Monday. What are going to be the steps? And the AI agent is going to break all the steps together. Like, hey, you need to go to the most closest, social security center, and you need to send this specific information to your advisor, and it will break all the steps that you need in one place. So you don't have to go, hey, should I go to this department to ask for that, or should I go to another department? The AI agent is going to give you the specific department you need to go on and take this information.
So you're saying, are you saying that the model isn't going to collect data from the users? It's just going to provide resourcing?
It's going to collect their experience.
Their questions and their,
Yes, like so more data it processes, it's going to be a better and better model, like specifically for international students in the future. But in general, yes, it's going to collect data.
Is there any differentiation you're putting into the agent compared to what you can get from advanced Google searches?
So the most amazing part of it is going to handle the phone calls. Like, you can give it a call and you can speak to the AI agent on the phone. And it's going to be, because it's going to be trained with real data from real students, it's going to give them a better answer than just, another AI can give.
And yeah, I would just say you've obviously done an amazing job activating without this AI technology. I'm helping you, so congratulations on the job.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Team A. So next up, we have Team Bear Hugs, led by Amanda Jack, Dylan Costa, and Aidan McGrail, who have created something really heartwarming, which is Calming Hands, a customizable sensory glove for children. So with that, let's give a big calming hand to Team Bear Hugs.
1 out of 3 adolescents have suffered from anxiety. And when you're having an anxiety attack, the thing you want most is a friend there to support you. Introducing Bear Hugs, the calming glove.
I'm Amanda, and I was inspired by this from my little brother who has anxiety and autism, and he started getting panic attacks during what should have been really happy moments for him.
Hi, I'm Aiden. I'm very passionate about this project. When I was younger, I used to suffer from anxiety attacks.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and I am passionate about this project because my little sister has suffered from anxiety and depression in the past, and I think this could have made a huge difference for her.
So the problem that we're trying to solve is anxiety attacks in children. Anxiety attacks are often very hard to predict, and they're very hard to deal with once they happen. Anxiety attacks can negatively affect the child's social, work, and study life, and 1 out of 10 children are affected by anxiety.
So an issue that we saw is that half the children diagnosed with anxiety have not received any treatment and have suffered from panic and public speaking and test-taking anxiety. So for the symptoms, there's a lot of physical symptoms. It's nausea, chills, sweating, shaking, and heavy breathing. But there's also the emotional impact where the children feel really isolated and disconnected. And something that's not mentioned too often is the caregivers. So parents can't always be there for their children if they're at work. And sometimes all you want to do is just give your child a hug. So that's where Bear Hugs comes in. And for caregivers, we want to take away the stress of them not being able to provide physical comfort for them, which is why Bear Hugs will also provide that as well.
To solve this problem, we designed a sensory-friendly wearable glove that is meant to help children exit and prevent anxiety attacks. If a child is feeling anxious, they can simply press a button to activate either vibration motors, which help them pace their breathing, a cooling and heating element that stimulates the vagus nerve and slows their heart rate, or even just feeling the surface of the glove, which is covered in engaging textures, can help them exit an attack.
So right now, our target market is parents with children with anxiety ages 5 to 17, and we're hoping to expand that market in the future when we'll have more mature designs for our mature audience.
We interviewed a group of teachers, special ed teachers, and behavior analysts, and what we discovered is that there was an overwhelmingly positive reception to the glove. A couple of teachers even offered to buy some to use in their classroom. We made sure to incorporate the ease of taking the glove on and off in our design. I can't do it now because I'm on the microphone. But we also want to ensure that every child gets a comfortable and correct fit, so we plan to offer the glove in multiple sizes and colorways. Obviously, since we're dealing with heating and cooling elements, safety is paramount, so we installed a temperature switch that automatically cuts power to the glove if it exceeds a safe temperature range. Some common questions we get asked is, how does it work? We use a thermoelectric cooler that creates a cooling sensation or heating sensation based on the voltage applied to it. There are vibration motors located throughout the glove that pulse to a breathing rhythm.
Right now, the battery life is around 10 to 15 hours, and we're selling this at around $45, but we hope to bring down the price in the future to make it more affordable.
In the event that the glove gets dirty, it is machine washable. Right now, what we have at our disposal is a completely working circuit and test environments. We have a 3D printer, laser cutter, and sewing machine, but we do require additional funding to make this work. We're asking for about $4,000, which will help us further prototyping, community outreach, and web development. Over the next year, we plan to take this funding, finalize our designs, and to get in talks with manufacturers to begin production. Right now, on the market, we have identified two main competitors, one being the Calm Go, which is a breathing regulator that stimulates 4 senses to calm the user out of anxiety. The other is the Apollo wearable. It's a smart bracelet, and it has a sub-feature which uses vibrations to calm anxiety. What we have over them is that we want to keep it affordable. Both of those products are over $300, whereas ours is going to be under $100. It's not subscription-based, it's a one-time purchase. But most importantly, our design and features are meant and geared towards children. That is who we have in mind at this stage.
So we're envisioning this at the doctor's office before children are receiving a shot. We see this in the airplanes where there's a lot of turbulence. We see it when kids are taking MCAS or other stressful tests in school to help them do better academically. We see this in restaurants so families can enjoy a meal together.
Anywhere a child can feel anxious, they can simply put on the Bear Hugs glove and have a friend there to support them. So thank you for supporting us and supporting Bear Hugs.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. I love the concept. Since this is geared towards children as a market, and there's, I think I see some button eyes, and you talked about some of the internal components of the glove. Have you thought about like an age range for which this would be appropriate? Like, lazy things for you up, and how would you evaluate that?
So we plan to, this glove is designed for children around 3 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
We plan on offering different designs for older children as well, because obviously I don't think many teenagers would want to walk around wearing this. So we plan on offering more discreet and hidden devices for helping older children with anxieties.
I would say though at this stage, since we're in the beginnings, we are just focusing on that target audience, but our general plan for the future is to expand outward to other age groups.
Great, thank you.
Great idea. I'm not familiar with the medical behind this. Have you thought about the testing that's going to need to be done to validate the claims?
Yes, we have. We're in contact with a couple of special ed teachers, and they said they would be more than happy to have their students try it out.
We also have a potential lead on a medical developer who would be interested in testing on that one's going forward. So that's just a lead though at this stage, but we plan to pursue it to the fullest.
I have a question. Since it's battery operated, right? Have you considered, is it too, it's too cumbersome for a little child?
I'm sorry, like in what sense too cumbersome? Like too much to do with like the recharging or?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm talking about like, if you were saying in case the caregiver is not there,
Yeah.
and so how would this young children be using that?
So the battery life is expected to last longer than a school day, so that they won't be without the glove when they're at school or in an outside environment. But the glove is easily rechargeable using Type-C, so that most children know how to charge things. They have their iPads and everything. It's very easy to just plug it in and have it ready for the next day for a couple hours.
And what kind of option does it have? Does it vibrate? Does it play music? What does it do?
So the current design has vibration motors located throughout the glove that are customizable but pulse to a regular breathing rhythm. And we also have a thermoelectric cooler, which can generate a heating or cooling sensation based on the voltage applied to it. So the child will be able to choose between those two options as well.
So have you had any engineering support on this for the safety? Any engineers that help you on that?
So we've
Yeah, so we're both electrical engineering students. We've been designing the circuit. One thing that's been very important with the temperature sensor especially is we have sensing resistors. Once it goes over a certain temperature, in the event that it would do that, it would completely cut off all power in the circuit.
And so, one more question, sorry.
No problem.
I'm an industrial designer, so I like to ask this kind of question. So, what's the manufacturing procedure? Do you do the electronic part first, or do you do the, I see the glove, I see soft stack part. So who does that, and how do you come up with the ideas?
So right now, they currently design a circuit for it, and then the circuit can sit inside of the glove, and you can remove it for easy access. So it starts off with the circuits, and then from there, we put it together inside the glove, and you might be able to tell.
So currently we have the circuit functioning on a breadboard, so it would not fit right now, but we plan on using the funds to just make the circuit smaller and get it into printed circuit boards so it can integrate it easier into the phone.
We also plan to have the internals manufactured on their own because a part of what we want to gear towards children is different maybe characters or if a casing goes bad, you don't want to throw out the whole thing. So we plan to have it come as the outside and the inside together, but the inside is completely removable, the inside would be manufactured on its own, and you can buy the outside additionally, but those two would be manufactured separately, just sold together.
Very good idea. I think a lot of kids can use it. It's just I thought that there's a lot more thought has to be put in it. It's a great idea.
So, one quick, the child puts it on or the provider puts it on? Because
The child puts it on. We designed it to be.
okay, so, but now, going back to Joyce's question, the child's got to know to press what buttons and
Yes.
all those things there. That's a little tricky, don't you think?
Yes, so we'll have two buttons. It'll be a blue button for the cool and then a red button for the heat.
Right.
And it'll be a simple design with the buttons on it.
And by just having it on their hand, you believe that will take the anxiety out of the situation, rather than I have it on my hand and put it on your shoulder, right?
So it's meant to be on the hand because if it's on the shoulder, it could be hard to wear with clothes.
So I'm just saying, by putting it on a child's hand, you believe that's enough to calm them down, versus having a parent's hand and the parent put it on their back or something to do. You have some science that says putting it on a child's hand will calm them down.
So it's kind of like liquid blankets or heated blankets.
Yeah.
We took inspiration from that and sensory toys as well, and that calming children down.
Okay.
Thank you, Team Bear Hug. So our third finalist is Team Comprehension Clicker, represented by Jetrin Orenberg. True story, I think he sold me 50 units during his poster presentation, so already having a good night. Sorry to my credit card. So he's tackling a really common challenge in education, which is real-time understanding or real-time awareness of how students are understanding the content that we as professors are speaking, obviously in a very clear and engaging manner. And he's developed Comprehension Clicker, so a handheld slider device that students can use during the class to indicate their level of understanding. So please welcome Team Comprehension Clicker to the stage.
Very strange. Oh, no worries. We can keep going without it. We're going to pretend that it is working for the point of the presentation, but if not, there's no worries. All right, everyone, my name is Jeffrey Morberg. I'm a double major in electrical engineering and computer science. And that little device in front of you is the Comprehension Clicker. Normally, I tell you guys to use the device in front of you with the left button, which is the red one. That is representative of 1, and on the right side of the blue button, representative of 5. I want you to use that device to tell me your real-time comprehension of the material that I'm going over. Sorry about this, it's a bit distracting. But ideally what you would be seeing is instead of an average number from 1 to 5, that number is going to show you, that number is going to show me exactly what the average comprehension level is of the material I'm going over. All right, so let's begin. This is kind of a silly example, but I think it's really important to show you. As you can see, there's 2 cars, a Ford F-Series. The only difference here is they're made 8 years apart, but it's still the same model, still the same manufacturer, but of course we see some drastic differences. We have twice the miles per gallon, we have 4 times the horsepower, and 2.5 times the towing capacity, and that's kind of expected, because when you have time, you have innovation, right? Innovation comes with time. That's nothing to be surprised about, I guess you'd say. And then we have a classroom from the 1940s. This classroom has a single teacher at the front with rows of desks. We have students who are raising their hands for questions, but we have no tools to show real-time feedback. And let's take a look at the classroom from 2020. We have students sitting in rows with rows of desks. We have students raising their hands for questions, and we have no tools to show student feedback. If you haven't gotten my joke already, it's that this hasn't changed. It's the same, it's, a different photo, but it's the same words. That's why I'm going to make a claim I really don't make claim. And that claim is that there have been no large-scale, undoubtedly positive innovations in classrooms. Now, because of that, we actually have a really big problem. I've been fortunate enough to send a survey to a lot of the faculty and staff in Westfall, as well as I got to interview some of them and some other high school students, assistant principals, TAs, and just a lot of people who are in the education business, be it students or educators. And they told me that there's a lot of misunderstandings that are going unaddressed in the lectures. What does this mean? It means when a student has a question, they don't have a good way of telling the professor what's wrong. We have conventional methods of raising your hand, and some students are too scared to raise their hand. They don't want to be judged by their peers. They're scared that they're going to stand out and look funny. And I don't judge people. People don't judge people, but we still have that fear in the back of our head. There's looking at facial expressions, but maybe I'm hungry, maybe I'm grumpy, or maybe I do have a question. But still, you're not going to call a student because of the face they're making, at least not normally. And then there's my least favorite. That's quizzes. You can give a quiz, but the issue is you only see after the fact that the students have a question. You see after the fact, oh, half my class failed. But then what happens? Well, first of all, half your students are going to be really upset, sending you, hey, I failed this test, you didn't give me enough information. But also, you missed a really great opportunity to fix the problem. So if we have something to do that would be great. But there's actually a lot of opportunity for something that fixes this. First of all, there's over 100,000 high schools in the United States and over 5,000 colleges. There's an increasing global demand for educational tools, and that's by UNICEF. And there's a decrease in classroom engagement scores over time. And that's really not good. We also have 83% survey students, that's from my own survey, who said that advice like this made them feel more comfortable speaking up in class. And out of over 100 participants, we're at somewhere like 120 now, which is really great. And also we have Tim Caddy from Medium, who said assessment is most effective when it happens right away. Right? When we have a problem, we want to fix the problem, not wait a day, a week, and then go back to it, because problems grow from each other. So let's take a look at the solution. Hi, Von Fon, Hoi, Thori, Gon, Fa. Well, okay, that's not English. And hopefully, I know it's a silly example, but I able to see on my device my comprehension level lower. And that's from you guys telling me, hey, what's going on? And I can see, well, the average score dropped. And we can fix the problem. But what is the real solution? Well, the real solution is the device right in front of you, hopefully one where it's actually connecting. I think there's a lot of cellular devices in this, and it's kind of interrupting, and this is only a prototype. But ideally, what I'd see, let's see an average comprehension score of every single student in my class. When there's a problem, the average score lowers, and as a professor, I can prompt, hey everyone, what's wrong? Or a student can see, I'm not the only one struggling, I don't feel alone. And they can raise their hand and say, Professor, I have a question. And they don't have to worry, am I going to be judged? No, because everyone has this problem. And of course, the resources. I was the 2024 Engineering Prototyping Competition winner. That was the first place. I got $2,500. That's being put into the company to start it. We're patent pending right now. We are currently trying to form the LLC. That's going to be hopefully the funding we can win from this event. We're also working with some industry professionals, a professor from Argentina, to really get this thing going and have the best it can possibly be seamless, no bugs like that, because bugs happen and we really can't afford that to happen in a real classroom. And in the future, hopefully I can get $500,000, that's in the long term, not just from you guys, but from growth, and we can mass produce this product, go places around the world, and really make a difference. But the $5,000 that hopefully I can get today, which is really what I'm asking for, we can find a way to make this product better, we can work with more people, we can spread the idea, and we can get this everywhere we possibly can. And hopefully we can really change the world. So really thank you guys for all your time. Again, I'm really sorry about the little hiccup there, but accidents happen, so. Hopefully, imagine that you were a student. If this would help you, then maybe try helping other students by supporting the idea.
Yes. I have a question. So in the real world, there aren't any clickers. And I guess, are you concerned that this reinforces students' not bad behavior, but something that they really need to work on, to be able to feel confident enough to say, I don't understand, or I have a question?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. I had some students come up to me saying, hey, we are college students. Why are we trying to support students who aren't going to speak up? And at the end of the day, if a student's not going to speak up, they might not speak up. I mean, us students, we're spending lots of money going to college, and maybe we're paying for it, maybe our parents are donating all this money to help us, and we want to find the best way possible to learn. And why not create a tool to help students learn? And yes, there are negative parts, but my idea here is this isn't meant to get rid of communication. Communication is one of the most important things in the world. What this is trying to do is foster more communication. Like I said, if I'm confused, I might not raise my hand because I'm scared I'll be judged, because I'm scared I'll know with the question. But when I see the average comprehension score lower, I can say, well, I'm not the only one. It's going to give me a little more confidence. That's going to give me growth. And hopefully one day, when there's not clickers in the real world, I can ask that question. But we have, we're not going to go from 0 to 10. We're going to take a small slope, we're going to take steps, and it's hopefully going to train us to get there.
Can you talk a little bit about the revenue model that you have in mind for this?
Yeah, sure. So these are priced at around $30 right now. We are going to have bulk pricing versus singular pricing. And they use to sell these to the schools. That's the department heads. So right now I'm actually going to give them to some faculties. I've had so many amazing staff members from us all telling me, hey, I want to guinea pig this, I want to try this in my classrooms. This will make a crazy difference. And it's really awesome to hear that. So I'm actually going to put these in the classrooms. My hope is at least the teams at UMass Lowell are going to say, wow, my faculty, they're loving this, and the scores are going up, and let's put this in the schools. And from there we're going to have, the deans hopefully ordering some, and it's going to spread to other schools like a wildfire, and we're just going to have upward growth from there. That's the idea.
So a follow-up question. So are the scores kind of unconnected to the lesson plan? Like, is this just sort of like the kids would randomly say, no, don't understand, or and the facilitator, the professor would have to sort of be mindful of what scores are popping up on the screen?
Yeah, so this is just an average number, right? If you were seeing this, it would be a number between 1 and 5. That's going to show you the average comprehension score in real time from the classroom. That is completely independent of your lesson. Of course, after the fact, you're going to see data that's going to be time versus comprehension. You're going to say, halfway through my lecture, comprehension dropped. And that's kind of the after the fact idea, but during the lecture, I can actually see in real time. I went over, I'm in physics 2 right now, I went over Lenz's law, and that's this complex physics topic, and the comprehension level dropped. Well, hey class, what's going on? What's wrong? Maybe as a lecturer, I say to myself, oh my goodness, I just explained something in a really silly way. I made a gap, I said something bad, and that's hopefully going to foster that communication on either side to fix the problem.
I have a question. Do you have some kind of a program that you could monitor the program for the faculty? I mean, they're busy teaching a class, and now they're getting a lot of sidetrack questions. And is this I understand what your purpose is, but does this also help the...
Yeah, so one of the biggest things I heard from both staff and students is we don't want this to be recorded. We want this data to be temporary, at least for the most part. Because there's students out there who are going to be scared that they're going to be graded or somehow scored based on the feedback they're getting. And at the end of the day, you can't force a student to learn. We can give them the tools to do so at the best of their ability. And when a student is in a class and they're confused, I want them to say, why not press a button? Why not get help? What does it cost me? In the worst case, my professor ignores it. In the best case, I get my problem answered, and I figure out what's wrong, and I can get back on the lesson plan. And really, that's the idea. So, and for professors, they say, well, I don't want this to be used by my department heads to determine my, how good I am as a faculty member. If I have really bad scores, maybe they're going to fire me. No, I don't want that fear there either. I want this to be a tool to be used if you want it, with really nothing bad that could happen from it.
Why not an app?
Why not? That's a great question. So I'm not sure if you're aware of it, social media, like Instagram, Snapchat, they have teams of psychologists dedicated to dissecting the mind of teens and adolescents, finding out ways to addict them to these apps.
Right.
If I'm introducing an app into a classroom, you're going to have students pulling up their phones, and they're going to see, oh, John messaged you on Snapchat. If you want to see what this random person posted on their Snapchat story, I didn't even use those apps. I have installed, I still get these notifications.
But don't use Facebook, make your own app.
Yeah, but no, of course, you have your own app, but you get these notifications.
Right.
Now you have it right in front of you, you attempt to use it. I'm a double major, one of them is computer science. When I'm in my computer science classrooms, we have our computers out. That's how we're expected to learn. But I'm telling you, half of the students, they have games, they're online shopping, because you have these right in front of you. Of course, I mean, you have the novelty aspect of course, but after a week, you're still just pressing buttons, and it's not the same, it's not less exciting to press a button, scrolling through Snapchat, Instagram, and seeing all these distractions.
You just get a lot of cost out.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Great composure despite the technology not working for you straight out of the gate. Have you considered a Zoom option for all the online classes that everyone's attending?
I have had a few professors. Am I allowed to answer that? I don't want to go over my time.
Take it
10 seconds, okay, go ahead. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I think it's important, especially in Zoom. You can't see faces, you can't see raised hands. I think there's a raised hand feature. But ideally, I'd love to have a way to track real-time comprehension in any environment, not just education, not just Zoom, but your workplace too, when you're training new hires.
Thank you, comprehension figure. All right, so we're about 3 talks in. We're about 3 in. I think we should do some activities. So, quick activity for everyone. Raise your hand if you have ever found moldy food in your fridge. There we go. Right. Good, good. Keep your hand up if you ate the food. We had a few clickers, there'd be a different answer to that one. Well, we're all very, very lucky because our next team is solving that problem. A team led by John Graham, William Susi, Noah Rothgaber, and Danny Machado created Friggy, a mobile app that helps manage the fridge and pantry effortlessly. So please, let's hear it for Team Friggy as they come to the stage.
Well, hello everybody, we're Team Friggy. This is John, that's Will, that's Danny, my name is Noah, and we're going to talk about Friggy, the food manager today. So Friggy, why did we decide to go with Friggy? So our mission was to actually reduce food loss and food waste in the United States. In 2010 dollars, it was a $162 billion issue. We've looked at data from the USDA, and we really don't want to be throwing all of that in the trash, do we? If we move on. So, not only is it a national problem and an economic one for the whole country, but it's also an issue for the personal human at home. So, that being said, we threw out a poll to about 50 people, and we found that on average, there was 4 to 7 items that needed to be thrown away in the fridge. However, at the high end, as you can see by that nice little chart over there, 21 plus items needed to be thrown away. That's kind of crazy, and it's a big issue that we're looking to solve. And the other piece to it is to reduce cognitive overload in the kitchen, and let's take a look at what Friggy is. So Friggy is a mobile application that manages food and where it's stored, and the expiration dates associated with the food items. So it tracks foods and gives you notifications and lets you know when they're about to expire, but the big piece is that it suggests recipes based on the food's expiration date. So you're more encouraged to use food that's about to go bad.
Thank you, Noah. We've currently been developing the app for a few months now, designed specifically for families, college students, or really anyone that wants to get on top of their food waste and on top of their groceries. What's exciting here is there's actually a natural progression in our model. There's a lot of features that we are currently implementing in the app for a smaller scale that also apply to a lot of businesses as well. For example, keeping track of groceries or inventory management. It's really valuable in the business world, such as small restaurants. We could kind of extend this even further to some type of integration with grocery stores and some type of system that, or features such as bulk management or team sharing that can be helpful for large-scale businesses. We have taken a look into some of our competition. There are some applications similar, however, those are very outdated, some dating back to 2010 of their most recent update. And truthfully, most of those applications, their features were blocked by paywalls, such as limiting you to only add 50 items to your fridge, which we feel is a basic feature that should be implemented in the app. There's also healthcare or more health-focused applications for food where people can track what they eat. While that is great for health, we are focusing on more saving people money, which is a big issue. And our biggest competition or competitor is the Samsung Smart Fridge. If you haven't heard of it, it's a fridge that can help you keep track of items in your fridge. However, the biggest pain point in that process is you actually have to manually enter in every single item one by one, which we understand is a very difficult process that no one wants to do.
Yeah, so starting off at that point, we want to make entering items as seamless and easy as possible into our app. To do that, we want to make it possible so you can simply scan a receipt or scan a barcode on an item and get all that item's information into our app. And then once that item's information is into the app, we want to send notifications notifying the user when items are about to expire or if they have expired so they can adjust accordingly. We also want to allow the user to stay organized within the app so they can see where items are stored, properties, of the items, more specifically the expiration date, but even what kind of food category it's in, be it meat, dairy, produce, whatever. We also know most of our users are in a shared space, so be it with a roommate, a family member, or getting into that corporate world with workers in a grocery store or a restaurant. We want to make it possible to be accessed from multiple devices, so you and your roommate can both access the fridge with all the items inside, and you can add or get rid of them. And then our last thing is the recipe recommender, so we want to give recipes tailored to those expired items, so you can use those expired items.
Right, so to extend on what John was saying, we have 3 general ideas for revenue models. The first is a consumer model, which could offer users sort of a subscription for more features. Then it's businesses, where we could charge businesses sort of a business license where they have a more streamlined app to control their larger inventories. And finally, industry, where we could promote other products from different businesses. And then our 2 biggest expenses are server costs, MacBook for development, and then just publishing costs from Google.
Fridgie's the future. Thank you both.
Good question. How do you know that each user has the same barcode from different grocery stores? How do you develop that?
So to explain the process of actually entering the items, the first thing we do is we take a picture of the receipt that you get from your grocery store, and we go line by line and create a batch of items for you. So during the process of putting items away, you take a look at your item's expiration date and you speak into the phone the date. You say, okay, March 14th, this one goes bad. Okay, March 15th, this goes bad. And you just go in the order of the receipt. So by the time you hit to the grocery store maybe 2 or 3 times, you've already fully inventoried your fridge. You don't have to worry about barcode scanning or vendors updating the API that has all of the barcodes and information for the items in there. You're just deriving all that information straight from the receipt.
It's a very tall order.
Yeah. But, so you think just from the receipt, then you're going to enter the expiration date the first time?
Yeah, so the receipt scanned, that gives you like an item number, that gives you like the description of the item, and then the expiration date is up to the user to look at on the item and then speak into the phone as like a batch. So the first item you say the expiration date, the second item you say the expiration date, and then you put it away.
And do you have that software now?
So there exists a lot of natural language processing utilities out there. Google has one that works really well with the framework that we're working with currently, which is React Native. As it stands right now, our app works with manual entry of items, but we don't have the scanning process yet, but we've seen things that do work in that same way.
One last question. You didn't talk a lot about the price.
Yeah, so today is actually a big piece of the price point. We're going to get a lot of information and feedback from others, but the big thing is we're looking at a subscription. Most subscriptions we're looking probably like $3 to $5 a month, but we have to kind of plan out what those server costs really do look like during the implementation phase.
How will you know when the food has been consumed?
So it's actually a pretty simple process. Fridgie will send you a notification saying, hey, did this thing go bad? And you just say, oh, I ate it, or oh, I threw it away. And it's as simple as a push notification that pops up at the top of your phone.
I'd love recipe suggestions on any food in my refrigerator, whether it's expired or not. But I'm just curious about that part of the functionality, how that works.
Yeah, a lot of people generally would probably say, oh, you can use an AI model to do this. We don't think that's necessary because really the process is we take a list of all the items that we see that are expired in your fridge, and then we basically do like a cross comparison with available recipes that are free to use. We say, for example, I got chicken that's going bad, I got parm that's going bad, I got sauce that's going bad. Well, maybe I should make a chicken parm. It'll show the user a list of recipes that match, sort of, and the ratio of which the items that you already have that are on their way out match to that recipe. And then you can pick whichever one makes sense to you and whichever one you want to eat.
Have you thought about an integration with online shopping services, right? Because I would imagine that would be a pretty seamless way to capture that.
We've heard a lot about that. The problem is almost the same, which is expiration dates are not something that's included in online groceries. Say, for example, I went for Instacart. They just throw whatever they want that's on the shelf, first in, first out. Who knows what the grocery store is doing, right? But you take a look at your list of items that gets imported in there, you still got to deal with that expiration date process. However, that's a great idea. It will just take an online receipt, throw it in there, and saves the work from our natural language processing to take care of that. And instead, you just throw it all in a list. That's a great idea.
One lot of people go to farmers markets, buy produce that way, and usually there's no receipt, I don't think there's anything on expiration dates or anything. So in that case, you would enter in just every particular item you bought?
Yeah, the market of people going to the farmer's market are normally people that are looking for a sustainable option or something to support local. If they're willing to do that, I think those users would be willing to take the time to enter those items in.
Thank you.
Great. So as we know, our students have one eye in the classroom and then one eye on the future and the ever-challenging job market. And so our next team has prepared a solution to assist them to make that move from the classroom out there into the real world. And so led by a team of Camille Lebihan, Panita T, and Mark Callahan, we have iPrep, who are offering an AI-powered career development platform. So with that, let's welcome iPrep to the stage.
Now, before I get into the slides behind me, I'd actually like to ask you guys a question. How many of you have ever felt lost trying to figure out your career path? Okay, well, you're not alone. Actually, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, 40% of college graduates are underemployed. That's exactly why we created iPrep, your 24/7 AI career buddy. My name's Camille, I'm joined by Panita and Mark, and today we aim to show you how iPrep aims to empower students to conquer this career gap. Now, career planning today is overwhelming. There are 256 million university students worldwide, yet 57% have never used career services. And most who do sometimes find them unhelpful. With a 1 to 2,263 advisor to student ratio, career planning, personalized guidance is basically impossible. And that leaves students unprepared, and stuck, and they often miss key opportunities. We conducted a survey earlier this semester where we asked students about their career. 37% didn't even know where to start. 54 struggled with finding relevant internships, and 35 lacked networking connections. Now listen, these aren't just numbers, these are real people who we talk to who feel unsupported and stuck. And that's where iPrep comes in.
So iPrep is your 24/7 personalized career coach that's built for students to help students navigate through the uncertainty of job preparation. And we aim to help students land better and relevant jobs, secure internships, and receive AI-tailored support when it matters. Over 22 million students graduate each year and are looking into entering the workforce. And meanwhile, the global career development software market size is projected to increase from $3.3 billion to $8.4 billion by 2032. And that is a 150% increase of untapped for students to student first solution. So this is the real student journey map from freshman year to graduation. And the yellow stars indicate the friction points where students struggle most, and this is where iPrep comes in. Next. And iPrep is positioned as in between an all-in-one career platform with high personalization and unlike other competitors, we offer to provide a career roadmap, resume coaching, mentorship matching, and especially help international students and underrepresented students to find clarity in data zone.
Hello, my name is Mark Callum, and I'm thrilled to introduce our MVP. As you can see here, we started off with 3 core features. So our first one is our career roadmap generator. You just input where you are now and where you want to go in the future, and we'll sort of output a career path to get to that dream role. Our second one is our real-time AI chatbot, where you can talk about the goals you want to achieve, maybe the skills you feel are weak and you need to develop. And then the last one is our personalized cover letter generator. You input your CV and the job description of the job you're applying to, and we'll output the personalized CV that you can use to go and apply to that job. Next slide. And this is our pricing that we're starting off with. We're starting off with a freemium model, so certain features and certain use of the product is free, and then you upgrade to a paid plan. We have the Starter, the Pro, and then the University, which is sort of the enterprise one that we get into partnership with some universities. And then for resources, this is why we fund them. Form an LLC, pay for hosting fees, register a trademark, purchase a domain, and fund for development of the product. And our ultimate goal with this funding is to use these funds to get a commercial launch of the product. Next slide. And this is just more of an exact breakdown of what the money would be used for. And as we're developing the product ourselves, we're estimating our cost to be $7,000.
Now, a bit of backstory. We founded our team earlier this semester, developed our MVP, and now we're conducting our first round of funding. Next steps will be to utilize this funding, and then develop the features, launch a beta, make partnerships, and then launch the platform. So thank you so much. iPrep is a platform by students, for students, and it'll help us maybe be a bit less confused about the job market. We're ready to scale, and we'd love your support to make that happen.
Thank you so much. It's a really interesting idea, and I think strategically it fits so well with the mission of UMass Lowell, right? It's really great here to sort of bring this forward as an idea. Can you go back to the slide that showed all of the other platforms that you'd be scanning, LinkedIn, et cetera? Yeah, that one. So this is I guess AI based, and you're going to try to scan all of the content that's available on these other platforms. Is that?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Yeah, how are you going to access this information, and like what are you going to do with it? There's an AI component to what I imagine, right?
Yeah. So what we aim to do is we aim to integrate a login LinkedIn with the platform, so we can just automatically have all the users sort of relevant careers, and from there we tailor the products based on their experiences already, and then we ask them some clarifying questions like what skills they feel are their strongest, their weakest, and where they want to go in their career.
Because there's already a lot of that in LinkedIn already, so is the idea that you would sort of add on to it, add a layer of personalization onto it?
Yeah, like LinkedIn can be quite a broad platform, but we kind of aim to serve a particular niche of like students who are extremely overwhelmed with all this career stuff.
So like grads, essentially, right? Like entering the workforce for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, LinkedIn is there's a premium feature. And so if you get the premium feature, you get much more access. But usually if you just have LinkedIn, you have you can set your skills and all of that. But there's two things. There's a lack of centralization because there are many resources out there that are not necessarily on LinkedIn. So the goal would be to centralize that, at least link it back to other platforms if necessary. And also, sometimes on LinkedIn, it's just a specific part of what we aim to achieve. So there's not this CV building or this cover letter building, and then also once you're in that company, how am I going to get the job that I want, right? There's no coaching behind it.
I'm just going to add an example. So for LinkedIn, it's more based on you entering in your information from your resume of sort, and then it will list a bunch of jobs. But within those niche jobs, there are different requirements for you to pursue. And so this is where iPrep comes in. We build it based on personalization, where these students would put in their resume and, like Mark said, answer some questions about their career goals and whatnot. And then our iPrep would filter out what skills they lack and other miscellaneous stuff, so that they could start building it and potentially apply it towards their internship search or job search.
My question is this kind of like a career counseling?
Yes. So,
exactly.
so initially, I guess I would mention the fact that it is a 24/7 career coach. So whatever questions you have, you ask it 24/7 and you will respond. So like counseling, but with you for 24/7 and throughout your whole career journey.
And then you have the software, and then we direct them to the algorithm and say what kind of career they should go after.
Yeah, so it's like a roadmap. Do you want to? If you want.
We actually have an MVP if you want to scan it. But basically, sorry, could you repeat your question?
It's okay, I understand why you're trying.
It's a roadmap.
And you want to finish up? You got a question, or David?
I have a question. So, first of all, I think it's a great idea, and I think there's a lot of need for it. My question is around the model. It's easy for us to all talk about AI, but really this your model is the key to providing the data, right, that gives the advice. Right? So how do you go, what are your thoughts about going to generating this model?
Yeah, so at the minute we call out the sort of third-party API models, like ChatGPT API. And from there we kind of do some like one-shot, two-shot system prompt training on it. And we obviously use data we collected to training as well as the data that the user provides to give a sort of personalized experience to the user.
Where do you get the data that you're going to use to predict the path that the student should take?
That just kind of, we have sort of a list of different careers and career paths that people have already gone on. So that's what
We'll be linking that with also what we can find on the internet and career development, working closely with career services, for example.
Thank you.
Are what you say you'll do on your own personalised website. However, most of us don't have the skills to do that. But luckily, we have our next solution, which is Team MyHub, led by Alexander Donnelly, who has created MyHub, a platform that lets anyone build their own personal website with no coding required. So if we are all ready, let's give a warm welcome here to Alex.
So, over the summer, I had this really cool, unique opportunity to review hundreds of resumes. This was for a simple office role in Cambridge, Mass, so it was awesome. It was a ton of qualified candidates, it was great. But we got a ton of qualified candidates, and you couldn't really differentiate one from another. And we wanted to hire the person, not just the resume. So, out of those hundreds of people, there was one that we didn't remember, because we could understand more about them. And we remembered that person because they had a personal website. And this doesn't just go for this domain, which was through a simple hiring website. This is on LinkedIn. If you post a job on there, you get hundreds, if not thousands, of applications and hours. And the problem is that if someone wants a differentiator like this, there's no good real tools for it. They have some simple no-code programming platforms you may have heard of, like Wix or Squarespace, but these are built for B2B, not for B2C. And I know more than anybody, they're not what they say they are. I spent money on a course, spent time and resources learning this platform, and it took me years to really understand how to use them, because I built a business around selling small business websites using these platforms. So we have a great opportunity. There are some metrics say around 30 to 40% of the American job market is currently playing the field for new roles. And then on top of that, there's another 5 million Americans who every single day are trying to find a new role who don't have one right now. Plus, we have another 20 million university students in the United States who are networking, finding internships, looking for their new career every single day. So another problem that hasn't been highlighted yet is how hard it's been for these college students to find roles. Let's meet some people who have experienced this. Let's meet Medea. She graduated from UVM recently. She was a double major, she had a strong GPA, and she had 2 internships in her college experience. But she sent out 300 applications, and it was really hard for her to get any sort of response from recruiters. Now let's meet Dominic. Dominic was sending 156 applications. Sometimes he would get 3 rejections a day, and he had to sell a family heirloom and leave his field for the time being just to make ends meet and get his feet on the ground. So, what they don't know, and what most people don't know, is that personal brands are the new resumes. Over 90% of recruiters are now using social media for hiring. More than 1 of every 2 recruiters have used it as a means of removing an applicant from the pool, so it goes both ways. And then on top of that, another 80% of job seekers are using social media as a means of finding a new role. So that's what we do at MyHub. MyHub gives you your personal site so you can build your personal brand and have your own success. So what we are super easy to interface, quick to create. You can use it everywhere, in networking, recruiting, and everything. And as soon as I create my personal website, I immediately have a better personal brand and scale my competition if I'm trying to get that job, if I'm trying to network at an event, wherever it may be. So, MyHub builds personal brands. This may be a little bit surprising, you may think it's fake. 70% of recruiters now say that a personal brand is more important than a website. 70% of recruiters think that a personal brand is more important than a website. And there are no good tools to suffice that need. MyHub is a tool to build personal brands. So people need to flex. I have great things that I've accomplished. I've spent time, money, sweat, tears trying to accomplish that I want recruiters to see. Recruiters that want to see that. I've been on both sides. I recruited and I wanted to see that. I wanted to hire the person, not the black and white words in the resume. And I've experienced as an applicant where I have more to show. I want them to know more about me. And I wasn't able to do that. So for resources, we need a little over 3,100. This goes for infrastructure costs, development, operations, and then I love doing outbound and be boots on ground, talk to users, understand how we can help them succeed. Because ultimately, I want to help people succeed. People want to put food on the table for families. People want to start their careers, get in their first roles, make ends meet, and I want to help people get their feet on the ground and really succeed. That's what we are. We're a personal site for your success and your personal brand. And then, if you want to stay in my site, I have one on the left, and then fully working, fully going, create your own on the right. Thank you.
I think that's all really, very, really cool. When you did your research on WordPress and those things, how long ago was that?
So I still actively use those platforms in the last few
Are
years.
you familiar with something called Replit or any of those programs?
Is that the AI and the, so, like, people now say, yeah, you use AI. There's still so much that goes into that. Like, I've tried it too. I've tried these platforms, and that obviously it doesn't build exactly how you want it. It doesn't. Then you have to figure out the web hosting, the domain, and there's so much.
And it's not niched, but there are more tools coming along. They don't solve all the problems, but I use WordPress. It's really basic. But I study a lot of the other stuff, and some of them are coming along. You're right, they don't do the whole job, but there's maybe some way you can blend yours with that kind of stuff. That would be really cool.
So talk to me a little bit about the difference in your mind between a personal website and a personal brand. Like where's the line between those two?
Yeah, so I don't think they're the same, which I understand. But I think that your personal brand is so much more. Your personal brand is you. And this would be this is a tool to help you build your personal brand. It adds to your personal brand. It shows who you are, what you've done, all you've accomplished. People want to see that. LinkedIn, I put stuff on there. That's kind of how I came up with this idea, because LinkedIn did not fit my need. It puts my stuff at the bottom, but if I want to make the most of my personal brand, I can make my own website, put everything I've done and worked for at the top, and then people can see that, and it adds to my personal brand.
Can you talk me through how a user would get that result with what you're proposing? Talk to me a little bit about how to tease out what a brand is.
In terms of return on recruiters, like from
Or just for the user, like how does the user accomplish brand building with what you're proposing to make build?
Yeah, well, I think that by having the site, like if you think of, there's no clear, flat X, Y, or Z about what a personal brand is. It's kind of a theory or thought, and I think that you want to be the best you can. Like if I have my own personal website, like that adds to my personal brand. It's not any solving or immediate. This isn't going to make you the best person ever immediately, but it just adds to it. You can prove who you are. It fuels your personal brand, because the more you have, the better your personal brand.
I totally agree with all of that in principle. I guess what I'm trying to get at is how are you going to deliver that? Like what means are you going to use to help people get to that place where they're not just building a website, they're actually talking about who they are as a professional.
Okay, so when you sign up to create your website, you put the content. I don't know if this is in the right line, but you put the content on there. So like, I built a platform for something else over the winter. I put my picture. I create a page or a post, kind of similar to say. I put my pictures on there and I tell my story, and then I can put that on there. So I write my story out. I put pictures of what happened, and then it's at the top of my website, so people can click that, and then tells them about me in that domain, or whether I put my other categories on there, and then that's how they learn about me.
Just as an FYI, I work in the branding space, and so I think what I'm trying to get at, like how much of the branding capability you're describing is native to you versus what you're going to deliver to people who would try to build something on my own. Like, are you taking them through questions? Are you taking them through specific, ways to express themselves? I'm just trying to get a sense of how you're going to deliver.
No, I understand. So when you sign up and start creating your website, the process in which you do so is built out. It takes you step by step. So, for example, you start with your menu, then you go to sub pages, and it gives you suggestions as to what to put on there, like what we should put as your menus, what pages would be good for people to see. So it guides you through that process of knowing what to put on there. That then helps you develop the best website that you can, so that people can see that.
That's helpful.
So who gets to view my brand other than your users? So at the end user, where do they put that brand on?
So you get a link, and then our business model would be you pay extra features, like a freemium model. So if you wanted to, you could add your own domain. So if I want to do alexdonny.com, I can add it, and then I share that link, whether it be in applications, on my social medias, or in networking on a business card with digital code.
So what does that cost?
That would be $9.99, and then there's separate costs to purchase the domain, but through our website, that would be $9.99.
Okay, so basically you build a model to teach people how to build their own brand, kind of like a resume, however that happens, right?
Yeah, it teaches them how to build the best thing they can, and then they leverage that.
Thank you.
We've had everything so far. We've taken care of our fridges, we've taken care of our children, we've taken care of education, we've taken care of the job market. We are yet to take care of the number one most important thing in a lot of people's lives, our pets. 2 dogs, 2 cats, ranking above my children. But no, don't. My wife doesn't attend these events, so I can crack that joke. But no, next we have a team that is specifically focused on those near and dear to our hearts. We have Team Parva, led by Owen O'Brien, Tanish Avaretti, and Jaya Panchal, who developed a smart pet bed, which is a Wi-Fi connected bed that can track a bed that tracks your pet's vital signals while they sleep. So with that, welcome to the stage, Team Parva.
My name is Tanesh.
My name is Owen.
I'm Gia.
And we are Team Pava, and we have came up with the Pava Smart Pet Bed. So judges and audience, how many of you guys own a pet or know someone else like that? Great. Did you know there's a 60% chance that that pet may be suffering from an underlying condition that could be affecting their health in a negative way? That condition at hand is your pet being overweight. Being overweight leads to a lot of issues such as diabetes and a shorter lifespan. Unfortunately, there is nothing on the market that can track your pet's weight in a comprehensive and passive manner.
Because of this, there's a market opportunity for a smart pet health tracking device that captures weight and is hassle-free, like smart collars that require batteries, and also tracks the most important metric, which is weight. We spoke to many vets, and weight determines the overall health of a pet and is the most important indicator. Similar competition, like I said, with smart collars, which do require recharging, along with just vet diagnostic tools, which are difficult to use and specialized for veterinarians. We have data to back this up, as their pet market is constantly growing, as the pet vet market has a compound annual growth rate around 7%, and the pet insurance income or compound annual growth rate is 18%. So, unfortunately, we couldn't interview the pets, but we interviewed 187 different people through surveys and questionnaires. We found out that most people actually want to track their pet's health, along with are willing to purchase a product that does track your pet's health. The most important metrics to them were weight, sleep pattern, temperature, and heart rate. And then speaking to vets, like I said, weight is the most important metric, and no other device tracks it on the market passively and hassle-free. There's a picture of us at the Lowell Humane Society down the street, where we got to meet a nice little cat.
Our smart pet bed has embedded sensors to track weight, body temperature, and sleep patterns. We also have a Wi-Fi connected app, which can be used to view trends that the data from the bed will be sent to the app, and you can view it with a very simple UI, easy to understand. We also want to integrate an alert system to it, so when something is super off, like temperature goes up or a couple days went by and the weight has went up a little bit, you will get a text. You will get a text, as well as the vet will get an email or an alert of that sort.
So our pet bed can do everything that a smart collar can do, and even more. For example, we can track the weight, as we mentioned before, a collar can't do that. Our product also has a heating element, which will help that pet actually stay on the bed and have a more enjoyable experience. Our product is also a set and forget. Unlike collars, you have to worry about the batteries and make sure it's charged up all the time. Our product is something you can just plug into the wall, you can set it in there, and just forget about it.
We have done a lot of research. We have talked to vets, we have looked at the market, we've also looked at the durability of the materials that we want to use, we have looked at sensors, fabrics, all that fun stuff. We are currently in a developmental stage. We have a prototype. We're looking to continue making it to our MVP as we continue finding more funding opportunities. Our next step is user validation. We want to start testing as soon as possible and go back and forth with the developmental stage and just make our MVP the best it can possibly be. And then our next step is early marketing and getting out there, getting our name out there, and just get going with that.
And as you can see, we have a very hardworking, may I say, gorgeous team up here. That is a team of software engineers and mechanical engineers. So we can do all the product development in-house. This will save a lot of money and time while iterating over a product. In addition to this, we're going to need some funding to form an LLC along with product development. With additional funding, we plan to get to the patent pending status. This will protect us from companies that try to compete with us, along with accelerating our product development journey so we can get quicker to market. So we have a 3D model. Looks like it's frozen right now, but it'll just show what the final product will look like. And before we start taking questions, we'd like to show you a prototype we worked so hard on creating. And here we go. So this prototype took about $70 to create, and we plan to sell it around $200 as a high-end pet bed is. So we have a bunch of integrated electronics. As you can see, we have load cells to capture the weight, heating pad, and we're going to add the temperature sensor in the near future to just improve and gather additional data. So this works with weight and the heating pad. This uploads to a database, which then can be viewed on a website. And an app.
How do you stop? Is it okay if that stuff gets wet?
That's a good question. Because you don't want to money Johnson on that.
Because it's a dog. I mean, I have pets my whole life, and they'll get wet. It'll get wet down there.
Of course. So our design, we currently have it elevated off the ground to for puddles that might get into the electronics. Along with our final design, it's going to have a bed that completely surrounds the electronics, and it's going to have a waterproof case.
Okay. Is there anything else like this?
So there is no smart pet bed on the market. The closest thing we have right now are smart collars.
Okay, totally different. Okay.
How did you determine $200? Is that kind of high? Have you done market research?
So right now we did do market research, and we've noticed that pet owners are spending upwards of around $150 to $200 on a luxury pet bed. Just the pet bed has no technology aspect to it. So our pet bed will be marketed around that price, but we'll have a lot more features to it.
And we want to match that quality and durability of that.
You gotta work on aesthetics part of it.
Okay. So might be coming up. Yeah.
As we're presenting, there is 3D printers printing a shell before our pet bed to cover up the wood. So.
I said order of 3 French bulldogs. I totally get where you're coming from, and it's actually problematic for owners to weigh their pets on a regular basis, right? Like it's it's not something that's easy to do, and people will spend an insane amount of money on aesthetically pleasing dog furniture, and so it's a very intriguing idea. I mean, I imagine that though, if you get into a production environment, the cost per bed ought to go down.
Yeah,
right?
drastically.
Have you thought about like sort of what scale or what price point you might, I guess maybe you want to do some research on that.
But Lauren, you bring up a good point. Do you really want to bring the price down? Because people spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you spend a lot of money on your bed, your dog's bed. I know we do.
Yeah.
And so, $200 is $200. But really, for somebody spending money on pets, I would think that's not a lot of money in our house for dogs.
Is your long-term goal to do all the manufacturing yourself, or is your thought maybe that you will pitch and sell this to a high-end, pet provider?
Our plan is we want to outsource the bed part, have someone else take care of that, and we're going to take care of all the electronics. And we want to make sure it works before we send it out.
Do you have any ideas yet?
That's why we have funding.
That's why we're here.
We're going to get, hopefully, the patent pending status soon.
Yeah. We have started looking into the process and that.
She is doing all the legal work for that.
We still require funding, so.
Have you done any kind of research at all, just to see if there's anything out there?
I've spoken to a couple of people. I've looked into freedom to operate a little bit. So far, I haven't found anything similar to that. So.
Yeah, so I reinforced that you have to get the patent, because the beauty, to me, I think it's a great idea, because people will spend anything on pets.
Yeah.
But the beauty there is you can cost reduce the heck out of that.
Exactly.
You can put all that in one little chip, and then you can really license this technology to
And
all the people that make pets. And that's where I think you have a real opportunity if it works.
Sorry, did you say that this connects to an app?
Yes, so there will be a mobile app for iOS, Apple's, the other one, Android. Also web app if you need that, but yeah, just easy, super simple UI so you can just view stuff. You don't have to use a lot of the power to. Yeah, that's my question.
Hard when you don't have enough time. Also, you don't have the right knowledge, or you don't have clear instructions. That's why we are excited to introduce iLearn, a gamified AI solution that will solve these problems.
Here in this room, we are all privileged, because we are in the state with the highest level of education in all of the United States. However, in the rest of the world, the situation is not the same. In fact, in the rest of the world, education is in crisis. Globally, millions of students struggle with education. And in Latin America, specifically in Chile, our country, the situation is even worse. According to UNESCO, Chile ranks lowest in Latin America by student performance in reading and math. Why? Well, classrooms are overcrowded. Teaching is outdated. Studying is boring for students. Technology is seen as an amusement rather than a learning tool. And on top of that, parents lack of knowledge and time to support their children. But this is exactly why Chile is the ideal spot to launch and to test educational learning solutions like ours.
Yes, Chile is a great place for us to start. First, because we know the place, we know the rules, the laws, and we have connections there. But also, Chile leads Latin America in digital advancement. Chile has the best second internet just after Singapore. And for some reason, we love smartphones there, and we have almost 2 smartphones per person. We also have more than 3 million students now in K-12. And gamification and its benefits is rising there and in the world. So this presents a great opportunity for us. So we asked, what if we could turn screen time into learning time? And to answer that question, we surveyed more than 300 parents and more than 200 students here in the US and in Chile, and we obtained very similar results. So first, most of the parents, they provide low support to the students because they lack the knowledge to do it or the time. Also, parental support drops up to 77% after 5th grade, because when parents cannot do it anymore. We also learned that students prefer apps, learning tools, or entertainment to learn more than notebooks and books. And we also asked parents, will you use an app that will help you study with your kids at home? And more than 60% of them said, yes, we will use it.
That's where we are building iLearn, a solution that blends AI tutoring to guide the student step by step, but not just giving the answer, but fostering critical thinking. Gamified learning to make education fun, full curriculum alignment for students to learn exactly what they are studying at schools. This is one difference from our competitors. parental tools to help family to be involved. This is another difference from our competitors. Multi-device platform to use iLearn anywhere, and a premium teacher option.
And we make it fun.
Oh, absolutely. We have several characters, and also our friendly capybara will be there to make learning even more joyful. iLearn has two interfaces, one for a student to learn step by step, but another for parents to guide them.
So, for us, iLearn will always be free for students because we want everybody to be able to learn. So our revenue model includes ads that are non-invasive and curated, child-friendly, and we also have microtransactions for people who would like a more personalized gaming experience. We will also have a premium version for educators where teachers can upload their own materials and anything they need, and that will also allow us to have some partnerships with institutions. So, today we are asking for $10,000 from the difference-making funds, and with that we will be able to develop our MVP to finalize it, and the phase one of the MVP will involve covering the math subject for 5th grade, because this is the most challenging one for students right now. So, by doing this, we will be able to test and receive feedback from students and from parents, so we will be able to keep developing. But Chile is just a starting point for us, because it's the easiest, as we know, and we have the context there. However, with this information, we will be able to make iLearn grow.
Can you just talk a little bit about the model, the MVP that you're developing, or how much is developed so far, or what are your thoughts about it?
We have just started developing, so we have some things, but the problem is for us to start using it, we also need to pay because we are building over GPT, DocChatGPT. So for the users, we will need to pay for it, and that's what we need to keep developing. Also, all this gaming process, we need to develop every character, every letter, everything that we will use there, we will need to develop that too, so we are doing that.
Can you describe what that little guy does?
It's a capybara. It's the main character. It's because in Latin America right now, the capybara, this animal that is the friendliest one in the wild, is the most famous animal, and all children are in love with them. So that's why we're using it. Just following the trend of what kids like.
I mean, it's an interesting idea to also do, merch around all of this as well, because they really are adorable. So it's interesting that you guys have done research and kind of zeroed in on 5th grade math, specifically in Chile, and you're going to use that as your test market, essentially, right? So proof of concept. Yes, very interesting. I guess following up on the earlier question on the model, how are you going to attack the lesson planning, the development of the curriculum, essentially?
Oh, we will start with the public schools because the curriculums are publicly available, so we can load everything. And therefore, the premium version, we will allow teachers or institutions that are private to load their own curriculums if they want their students to learn specific things or in specific ways.
Did you check iLearn? Can you use that? Isn't that already trademarked?
We may need to change it, but we have it as a temporary.
Because I thought it was already trademarked, so just be careful about that.
Yeah.
Good idea, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Team SenseMaker. So now we are switching up from technology to culture. Nobody worry, it's not British culture. We have Team Shady Productions here to bring Caribbean essence to New England, led by Shayna Gadian, Chanmi Shadev, Jay Citrola, and Serena Williams. The project is focusing on bringing New England's first ever community event celebrating Caribbean culture. So please everyone welcome Shady Productions to the stage.
My name is Shayna.
My name is Chanmi.
My name is Jay.
My name is Serena. And we're the Cayuga Connect, the team that's bringing you the annual event called Clash of the Islands, the Cayuga Food Truck Fest and Community Fair. Meeting Land of High Mountains, Haiti is a country that holds a deep place in my heart. Not only because it's my background, but due to the fact that I'm connected to many of its riches and the resilience of its people, as shown in this image. Haiti is one of many Caribbean countries that's able to create impact, success, and influence everywhere they go, especially within the US. Due to the problems they're facing in their country, they come to the US seeking ways to maintain their impact and influence. Specifically, in Massachusetts, we have a growing Caribbean population, with 1 in 5 Boston immigrants being from the Caribbean. However, there are many barriers that limit their success and impact here. Therefore, what my team is trying to address is the lack of sustained employment opportunities, the lack of quality cultural representation, and the lack of local economic growth.
And there is a lot of data and research that support the need of our event. As you can see in service occupation data, which include food services mainly, Caribbean population dominates there. However, you can also see the unemployment rate. The Caribbean immigrants has higher unemployment rate as compared to other immigrants in the country. And that's what we are going to address.
And now coming to the occupation, there are total 8.5 million Caribbean businesses across the United States and Canada. They contribute nearly $10 to $12 billion in the economy. We did a survey of Boston local metropolitan area of food truck businesses and catering businesses. We found that their businesses are not recovered properly from the COVID. They're still suffering. We are not only the one who did the survey. CPN is also doing a survey, and they're going to release the results soon in June 2026. Our community festival aims to recover the business of their businesses, just by creating a local economic impact like Charleston County did last year in 2024.
Here are our competitors, with some of their flaws being the expensive cost of tickets, high participation costs for vendors and overhead costs, and no additional support going towards the vendors.
Through collaboration with the City of Malden, we're focusing on 4 Caribbean food trucks and 4 Caribbean caterers. In addition, we're going to have Caribbean workouts, as well as health and wellness screenings, and most importantly, resource tables for immigrants. These resource tables will address education, employment, as well as legal opportunities. Lastly, what is really great about how our event is different from ours is we're going to have dedicated hours towards the elderly / the disabled, family and children, as well as the general public, making it accessible and appropriate for everyone. Our solution is very unique and a game changer to many of the problems that's addressed in this cycle. By achieving each of those factors, we're able to create an impact not only in person, but in numbers. Meaning, we're able to support Caribbean businesses and immigrants while still making a profit. That being said, our long-term goal is to be able to use some of that profit in establishing Chez G's Cafe and Park, which will be able to provide continuous promotion as well as continued services, not only once every year through the event, but 365 days per year. And lastly, how we sustain that over time? Well, there's a link, and we do have many of the percentages broken down.
And this is what we want today from our judges, fundings to fund our festival. To organize any food festival, we need to spend on good venue setup, we need good catering and food vendors, we need to entertain our audience, so we need to spend on entertainment and music, and we all want to make this event huge and grand, so we need to spend on marketing and promotion. So we come up with a total of 7,200, but today we are asking 6,500 from our dear judges to fund our event.
Before I thank you all for your attention, I want to say how grateful my team and I to be in a room full of innovators. As an emerging entrepreneur, I want to leave you with this. What does it take to be a difference maker? What makes you a difference maker? I asked each of my team members that, most of them responding well with it's solving a problem through collaboration. And I said, yes, stick to that, collaboration. In the words of Tori Roberts, disconnection creates dysfunction. However, powerful collaboration, connection, as well as unexpected partnerships creates real breakthrough. Thank you.
I love the passion coming through, right?
Thank you.
It's very inspiring. So is what you're doing using the medium of festival and culture to create economic opportunity? Is that sort of where you're headed with this whole concept?
Yes, that's a really great question. With our event, again, we're addressing the problems that you saw, but at the end of the day, besides supporting the Caribbean businesses and giving immigrants, Caribbean immigrants resources, at the end of the day, we're boosting the local economy, which I believe is a unique approach by still being able to help people at the same time, especially during this time, to be honest.
So 1 minute you're talking about a festival, and the other time you're talking about 365 days a year, which isn't all those things?
I'm glad you said that. So, we're hosting the annual event, correct? And our long-term goal, which I stated, is to hopefully use some of the profits for this annual event to establish Chez G's Cafe and Park, okay? And we're still gonna have this annual event, but with Chez G's Cafe, when the event, we're waiting for the event to happen, there's still a cafe and community hub that's able to promote that and also provide those services, yeah?
I have a question about accessibility. Sorry, Joy. You mentioned accessibility to the elderly, people with disabilities, and so that's not a situation of if you build it, they will come, right? Those are people that don't have access to an event like you're describing without some additional enabling efforts. So how would you create access to those populations that you describe?
I'm glad that you asked that. Another unique aspect of our event, so we're running 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. 11 to 1, again, like I told you, is dedicated for the elderly. So with resources and obviously the volunteers that work with us, we're able to partnership with nursing home, retirement homes, as well as local communities to maybe even whether it's a bus, transportation, and making sure it's not too crowded for them by giving them those dedicated hours and making sure we're addressing them and making sure they're easily accessible through our event.
My question is, what's each one of you are going to contribute? Are you all going to be taking charge of certain part of the events? Can you describe that?
Correct. So I'll let my team members, if you guys want to go first.
I will go first. So this event is very dear to my heart for two reasons. Being an immigrant myself, it's a very great resource to have like a resources at a festival. Because I have been to many festivals, but I haven't found any resource table. Like my dear friend said that there will be legal resources, education resources. So we will be contributing to have a resources for immigrants. And the second reason is being a public health professional. I'm very passionate about my public, and we are addressing the social determinant of health here. So that's my take on this project.
And I also want to say, again, we do have health and screening tables. Again, my friend Shani, she's in public health, and I'm also a physical therapy student. So I am taking charge of that part as well as the overview of the event.
And who's going to be in charge of marketing and
The good version. So I'm a business major, so I'm going to take care of the marketing and everything. But the festival, how joins me together is like everyone knows that we currently have minimum of 4 hours of screen time. So I need to just cut it down. People is used to this. Every time they need technology. Why technology? We are just finding each other like technology. We want to work, we need to count our steps. That's the technology. We need to sleep. We need to count our good sleep, bad sleep. That's technology. We need to buy food. We need to check. Is it good in budget? It's cheaper in Amazon. It's cheaper in Instacart. It's technology. But before what? It's like that's how it's connected. I personally want to lose my screen time, but it's connected to these people that just want to create an impact in the society, just bring the people together and make an enjoyment for. And it's like, so I'm a business major. I want to take care of the market.
have you done a business plan?
A little bit. I have some marketing strategies to implement before, so I'm looking forward to get some local newspapers for some, guerrilla marketing. So because some articles, they are always looking for the students, the local volunteers who wants to just come forward, do something for the community. So they have a separate page. We want to put an article over there. We collaborating with Malden, so City of Malden. We're gonna put our posters and everything, and we're gonna sell our tickets from there. We're gonna put our posters and maybe a table on metro station and Malden.
And one last thing I wanted to add, as you can see how passionate my team member is. and him focusing and trying to be able to address the outside media. But it's not saying that we're leaving media out. I've actually reached out to many food bloggers. Food bloggers in Massachusetts are huge. If I can collaborate with
everyone, we have done an amazing job with our patients. We are at the last team of the evening. I'm so excited. Thank you, Team Shady. We now have Team Shine In Academy, which is led by Madhavi Taragu, and it's tackling the educational challenge in high schools by offering Core Advantage SAT Prep, which is an SAT prep program designed to help students who fall behind in math and language skills. So please, for the last time this evening, welcome to the stage, Team Shine In Academy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Madhavi Taragu. I'm the founder and director of Shine In Math Academy. I'm excited to introduce you to Core Advantage SAT Prep, a test prep program that covers classroom success. Before discussing the problem, I want to introduce Andy to you. Andy was a very bright 12-year-old who scored a 1350 on his SAT, qualifying for a very prestigious program in Johns Hopkins University. But then COVID hit. A few years later, his score dropped to 1200. Now that 150-point drop is not just a number. It reflects real learning loss, emotional stress, shaken sense of confidence, and also lost opportunities. All across US and Massachusetts, students are struggling. We are witnessing huge learning gaps. I'm sorry, I told you I'm not very good with this clicker. So we are witnessing huge learning gaps, especially between disadvantaged communities and affluent communities. And if you look at the MCAS scores from 2019 to 2024, they have consistently dropped. Now, why is this happening? There is no one particular reason. Ongoing teacher shortages fueled by COVID-19 pandemic have caused this situation. Now, when it comes to the academic challenges, I was interviewing multiple professors for this problem. I was talking to Professor Dunlap. She shed light on one of the different angles to this problem. It's how college students are having to drop their majors because they could not pass a pre-calc exam. Now, so that explains that this problem is more deeply rooted than it actually looks on the surface level. To resolve this problem, there are solutions in the market. They are like Khan Academy and Kaplan Test Prep. They do provide solutions. However, they are self-paced and they provide like one-size-fits-all solutions. They do not work for a struggling student. What we need for the students is an academic solution that provides a comprehensive, concept-oriented instruction in a personalized way and supportive way. And that's exactly what we are doing in Shine In Math Academy with our Core Advantage SAT Prep. It's a project of Shine In Math Academy. Now, this program is different because it's a personalized and concept-oriented solution. It's not only designed to improve SAT scores, it's also designed to strengthen core foundation in subjects, especially math and English. It also builds competency in students and it improves their confidence by reinforcing foundational knowledge. It builds learning gaps that we saw in the earlier slide. How are we different? It's our approach. It's a quality instruction and that's providing better outcomes. Our students have increased their SAT scores anywhere from 150 to 450 points. That's not the only outcome. They start doing much better in their classrooms, everyday classrooms, especially in math and English. Now, we are also a mission-driven program. Our pricing structure is very cost-conscious. When we go to underserved communities, which is our target right now, we provide multiple discounts and also we contribute to the schools. We are targeting the schools, I forgot to mention. We contribute to schools scholarship funds. which will be given to the students who pursue careers as educators themselves. So this impact can be multiplied. Now, as this program is also piloted in Woburn High School, where we have gotten tremendously positive feedback. And we heard, instead of hearing just from our students, even the school administrators have gotten back to us how it has impacted their everyday performance. And this is also piloted in Burlington Public Library. As you can see, we have a well-developed solution. What we are seeking right now is your mentorship and guidance. After seeing all these difference makers on this stage, we want to make more of them. This stage should be filled with not just 10, but more difference makers. With your support, I believe we can become those difference makers for one student, one school, and one community at a time. Thank you.
So thank you. So you're live now, actually, and you're absolutely you're already implementing this program. How are you staffed, and how are you delivering services?
We have both models like virtual learning as well as in-person. We started as an in-person academy until COVID, and then obviously after COVID we transitioned to hybrid model. So the piloted program, it was offered in both models, and it worked great both ways.
And how will you scale it? Like as you sort of grow the business, like how reliant is this on the intellectual capital of individuals that are providing mentoring and all that kind of stuff? I'm just thinking, like, how will you scale this up?
Scale. Right now, as I said, we targeted one school. My goal here is to scale this impact more than scaling the business. I want to scale the impact. I hope I'm answering your question, but we are looking into all the underserved communities to begin with in Massachusetts. And to scale and to provide the resources that's needed even to run the program, I think virtual model will be ideal, and it makes it easy to scale. I hope I answered.
What's the ratio of your teachers to students, and you pick the school that you're in?
Yes, so our classroom sizes, especially for SIT, it doesn't exceed 20. The way we run it is when we go into the school, we provide a diagnostic test, and based on the results, we divide students into different classrooms, and we go from there.
But you spoke of a virtual model, and so that's certainly different numbers. Or is that still 1 in 20?
We keep it at 20. Typically, we don't reach 20 in the virtual model. But I do understand the challenges. Probably I'm understanding your question that way too. When virtual classroom exceeds a certain number, it can be tricky. That's the reason we are mindful of the numbers.
Because you mentioned all the underserved communities in Massachusetts. That's a huge number just alone, sadly.
Right.
And taking it 20 kids at a time, that takes a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
Right.
To answer that question, like I said to answer the earlier question, we determine based on what level the students are. If 10 students are really struggling, we try to keep them in that number. We don't really, it also is based on how well the students are doing. If the students are doing quite well, if they're in 1400 range, we don't mind keeping 20 students.
So maybe I missed it, but what about the money? Where's all this, how is this being all funded?
Right. So the first, the model that we have used for Woburn High School, that time our core SAT program, the core advantage SAT program was, we were charging at the academy $900. That's for a quality program per student. Now when we took it to the Woburn High School, it was discounted by $200. So that time they have announced it to the school and students signed up for it. We also are deliberating another model where when the school hires us, it can be a flat rate per session.
That answers it, but if you're trying to get to the underserved, that's a lot of money for somebody who is in a tough area already.
Yes, I completely agree with that, and I understand, and that's where the per session model for pricing will be ideal for those situations. In Woburn, it was not, when they announced, students were ready to sign up. Right. But we did discuss that model as well with the schools.
Is the goal to be a nonprofit, or is the goal to actually generate a for-profit model with this program?
Yes, this is a for-profit model. And we did think about non-profit for a bit, but right now we are running it as a for-profit model.
So are you profitable right now? How many of you are doing this?
We are certainly profitable, but not as much as our competitors were doing. But like I said earlier, my goal is to increase the impact more than
How many people do you have right now?
a total of, not just for the SAT program, we have about 15 to 20 instructors working at the academy, all part-time. And for SAT prep programs, we have about 5 instructors working at the academy.
I didn't see what you're looking for.
In terms of resources. So in terms of resources, we are mainly looking for the mentorship and guidance in scaling this application, in scaling this solution. And this is not an app, I hope it was clear.
But what's that number? As much as we'll give you, is that the number?
Every dollar that we get from this funding, it will bring us closer to the solution, closer to the areas where the solution is needed. So I don't have a number, but
It gives me tremendous pleasure right now to reintroduce the benefactor of the Risk Difference Maker Institute, Brian Risk, who will name our award winners for this evening. So Brian, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I don't know why they made me do this, but they asked me to have like a 45-minute speech before I start doing knowledge. But seriously, every time I come here to watch this, I get more impressed with the quality and the professionalism of the people who are giving, who are trying to do all these presentations. So you all just did an amazing job. So we're going to start with a fan favorite. The winner tonight of the fan favorite is Sound Waves. So for our next award, it's Jack M. Wilson First to Market. It's sponsored by Jack M. Wilson Center for Entrepreneurship. And it's Shining Academy. The Sullivan Innovative Technology Solutions, sponsored by Andrew Sullivan, class of 94, is iPrep. Contribution to a healthier lifestyle. This one was really cool. Beer Hugs. Significant social impact. Sense Makers, I Learn. For 2 minutes, you two my brothers or something. The Seed Funding Awards. You come on individually? Okay. First one up is ACM. Good luck. It's Comp Clickers. Friggy. My Hub. And because we want to have a little Caribbean fun, Shay G. So that leaves one more, and it's the Risk Campus-Wide Difference Maker Award, sponsored by my wife and myself, and it goes to Pavda.
One more round of applause for all of our students participating. Thank you to our judges. Insightful questions. I know it wasn't easy, so I won't make a comment that you're 25 minutes late. And to all of our sponsors, obviously Brian and Kim, thank you so much for giving more than just your resources, but your time and dedication to these students. I did want to point out tonight, we do have an alum in the audience, alum of Difference Maker, soon to be alum of UMass Lowell, Sandy DeRoots. And I love pointing out, she was on this stage last year in took away the top prize for her idea of Zipper. She's now got a little office in Bedford. She's selling her product online. Hopefully it'll be in other places very soon. And of course, I was just probing, and I asked her a real simple question. What was your favorite part of this difference maker thing? And she said, you know, I didn't realize we had all the resources here at UMass Lowell. They tied it all together for me. But she said the best part was I realized that I could do whatever I wanted. And now she is truly making a difference in the world. So to all of you, take your awards, take your ideas further, go make a difference in the world. Have a great night.